Being a Christian woman and walking in God's calling for our lives can be a difficult task. With the world and pop culture telling us to be one way, and the Bible saying another, you kind of end up feeling like an other. Well, you're not alone. Join me now and my friends as we navigate life in our 20s and 30s, while making sure we live out our faith, embrace our femininity, and looking cute. We discuss pop culture, life, careers, relationships, and so much more. Prepare to be entertained and educated. I know you're going to love it. Join our movement and embrace being another girl. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. You're listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory, and we, me, you, are changing culture and bringing back traditional values. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me move my mic a little bit. There we go. Much better. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new here, this is a pop culture podcast where we don't just talk about culture, we also change culture. And here we talk about life, career, relationships, pop culture from the Christian conservative perspective. Don't change the episode now, because I think that my opinions and the opinions of myself, my friends that come on, and many of the guests are going to be a little different than what you think they are. Our goal is really to always speak the truth in grace and in love. And you're going to hear that on Thursday's episode. I'm super excited for you guys to hear Thursday's episode. Anywho, so there's much to talk about. I'm recording this on July 14th. You're going to hear this on July 15th. And July 13th, there was a major U.S. event. This whole episode will not be about that. I decided a long time ago that I want to use a philosophy that I like to use in my life for the podcast. And, you know, sometimes it's not really profitable to be this way, but this is what I feel comfortable doing. This is what I think is best. Is number one, when things happen, not always coming out making a statement and you got to be the first to report this, because that is exactly how misinformation happens. That's exactly how rumors start, and I don't want to contribute to that personally. I don't always want to be, as soon as something happens, be the first person to say something, the first person. Now, are there times where is it more profitable to be that way? Sure. But I don't want to do that because I don't always know the right thing. For example, what happened on the 13th, I'll talk about in a second. There's already been 2 names that have been reported, and I don't even understand why they were, who the 2 names were that were reported. Why are there even 2 names? It can only be one person. Anyway, that's beside the point. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, this podcast is to educate and entertain. So I do not want to always bring forth heavy topics and stay in the heaviness. I don't want this to be a doomsday alarmist podcast. There are too many podcasts out there like that, and that's not what this podcast is. So I do want to talk about it for 5 minutes, probably, maybe even a little less than that. Talk about what happened, talk about moving forward, and then there's other things to talk about, almost like an escapism. So if you want, you can fast. If you don't want to hear any more about this, which is totally understandable, which kind of leads into one thing I want to say about this. We're not meant to experience every single tragedy. We're not meant to, always be in the know on everything. And it's really not good for us as humans. It's not healthy. It's just not good. And I think that has to do with how we got where we are today. Is there's so many alarmists out there. There's so many people who are catastrophizing. So we need to do better as ourselves, take responsibility for ourselves, and sometimes just step away. You don't have to be on Twitter the rest of the day. I know. So last night when everything happened, I was actually out with my friends at a country line dancing place. And I did keep going back on my phone, and I was like, oh dang, I should not be doing that. This is not good. And I had to pull it back. I'm a human. I wanted to see what was going on. This is probably the biggest event aside from 9/11 that has happened in the US that I have since I was alive, and I'm almost 30. This was huge. And it's scary. It's scary that this is the direction that it appears that we could be going, and I still think there's time for us to turn back around, but like this was crazy. Like this was scary. Like I cannot believe this happened. So my point is, like, we cannot spend all day, all times of the hour on the news watching it. I'm begging you, do not sit there glued in front of the TV for the next couple of days. We're going to get more information. Like I said, there's already been 2 names released for the one shooter. We're going to get all this information. A video that was going around about like different things. We've been told he was this, he was that, he was da 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 da. We don't know the truth just yet. I truly think by the time I'm recording this, I don't think we have the full story just yet. That's okay. Let's wait. Let's let those who are in charge and those who know what they're doing do their jobs, and then listen to what they have to say to report back. So that's one thing I want to say. And, back to, we can't spend all day in front of the TV listening and looking at the news and, talking to your friends that completely agree with you that are also scared. We can't spend all day doing that, because that is how we got here. And I think, both sides do this, but because this was clearly someone who wanted to take out Trump, I want to talk about the liberal left Democrats. However, I want to talk about that aspect first. When you are saying this person is literally Hitler, when you are saying that they literally want to kill you, like, this is a natural progression. This is like what naturally happens. When you say this person is going to take over, like, in democracy as we know it, people who already have something mentally wrong with them are going to take that and run with it. Now, there's an argument if someone's already had something mentally wrong with them that was going to do something like this anyway, they would have done it, which is absolutely true. But my point is, like, this is what happens when you're constantly saying the same thing. This person's Hitler, this person is going to kill us, this person wants my trans daughter murdered and round up, this person wants to take away women's rights. Eventually women are going to have to, live with a random man, and it's in time. When you're saying that gets into people, and they're going to react that way. This is going to happen. And I will say, I've seen a lot of liberals, a lot of people who do not like Trump saying, oh my goodness, this is awful, this is terrible, who are like acknowledging how bad this is and how wrong it is. He's a human being. And another sad part is just someone who just happened to want to go see him was murdered. I mean, that's sad. All they were doing was just going out to a rally to see someone that they want to vote for president. I mean, it's so terrible, like, how this is how we've gotten. I mean, I keep seeing all these people say we've got to get the political temperature down. People who are even liberals are saying things like that too. So I think that's really great. I think this shows like American fire, the American in us. Like, even when things big happen, like, we can come together. So it gives me hope. I have also been seeing a couple people saying some things that have been a little like out of left field, and it goes back to, like, and some of the comments are, well, he wants to ruin the lives of my he quite literally wants to ruin the lives of my loved ones. Like, that's what some of the comments people are saying, and it's like, that's how we got here. That is how we got here. So my suggestion is to go out, talk to your neighbors, touch some grass, have some friends over, pray. We absolutely need to be praying. Make sure that you're registered to vote. Things like that. That's the only thing I can really, like, that's all I really want to say about the topic. I think, let me make sure. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to say. No, I think that's it. Like, my prayers are to Trump and his family. That's scary. Barron was in the audience. Oh, I cannot, like, terrifying to see that happen to your father. He's alive, thankfully. That picture goes hard. As the kids say, as old people say, that was a tough shot. I mean, that's going to, if that were me, and I was president, you would walk into the White House, that's the first thing you saw. But then, I mean, it could not have been more perfect with the American flag hanging right there with his fist up. I mean, blood coming. Now, come on, that was a tough picture. Okay, you can't deny that, and probably solidified him as president. So there's that. We're gonna finally have a conservative administration. That's something I've been thinking about a lot. I think we've talked about. I know we've talked about Project 2025. Like I said, I didn't really see anything that was alarming to me personally. Like as a conservative, a lot of the things on there align with my conservative values. You know, like let's get rid of abortion. You know, like let's get men out of women's sports. I ain't mad at it. Let's fix this stuff going on with our economy. I ain't mad at it. So, you know, that's something I've been thinking on. It's like the administration. We really need people in the administration who can, who reflect our values and who can, you know, get this country back in order, I guess you could say. So it looks like that's going to happen. Looks like that's going to happen. So there's that. And you know, like let's continue to pray for them. Let's pray for the person who died. I've seen like multiple names about the person who died, so I don't know. I don't want to say a name just yet. And then there's a lot of people who are injured. Let's continue to pray for them and their families as well. But yeah, you know, we are continually living in major historical events. There's that. I tweeted, I think it was around the pandemic. So gosh Garley. That's not it. It's gosh, whatever. Gosh Garley kind of sounds fun. Sounds like that would be a cool t-shirt. Gosh Garley, that was a while ago, but I like retweeted something about how I don't want to live. I'm tired of living in major historical events. This was back in 2020, so much has happened between them. And a friend of mine said something like, we were made for such a time as this. And I was like, well, that's a good point. So that's just another thing to remember. Oh, I'm not wearing, I usually wear my Esther Rose necklace. I'm wearing another necklace that will be available at Shop the Pink Rose. If you're watching this, you're getting a sneak peek of the necklace that has not been released yet, but usually I have my Esther Rose necklace on from shopthePinkRose.com, and it's just a reminder that we were made for such a time as this. So gosh Garley, I am you know, I'm tired of living in world events, but also I was made during this time on purpose. So what, as a human, as a functioning member of society, what is my role in this? How can I help humanity? How can I help my brothers and sisters? One of the things is praying. Another thing is, you know, living out your life as a reflection of what Christ laid out for us. I think it's just another way to do that. So anyway, I want to stop talking about this because we have other things to talk about. And like I said, there's people, we don't have a lot of information, and there's people who are going to have more information than me. And I think we should listen to them on that specific stuff. The things that we're going to talk about, no, listen to me. But what I just discussed, there's people who have better. But like, you know, this pop culture stuff we're about to discuss, you should listen to me. All right, so weird transition. Don't know how to transition out of that. Heavy stuff. So let's talk about something light and fluffy, which would be Katy Perry. That's the first story that we're going to talk about. Katy Perry released a new song called Woman's World. If you know anything about me, I love being a girl. I wouldn't try being a girl for anything. Like I love it. Being a girl is so fun. I love being a woman. You know, God created men and women different. Like we're different. We have different functions. We have different abilities. We have different body parts. Heck, we're the ones who bring life into this world. Every time I see something like how when people give birth, not every time, I've seen this post where someone was like, it's so crazy to think that her baby has been inside of her like since she was a baby. Like it's beautiful what we are and like what we can do. So I love being a woman. I love meeting girls. I love hanging out with girls. I just love it. I love it. I like boys too, obviously, I like boys, but I love being a girl. So anything women, girl, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Girl power, yeah. Girls get it done. Reference for those who get it and those who don't. Ironically, most girls won't get it because it's not really a show girls watch. But if you watch it and you're a girl, you get it. Girls get it done. But anyway, so I'm normally excited about this type of stuff. Like, this is normally like my jam. So I was like, okay, cool. Women's World. And then Katy Perry. I am a Katy Perry fan. She puts out great music up until I believe it was 20. Let me just look to see what year Katy Perry stopped making good music. That last, no, the second to last studio album, let's just see here real quick. With Swish Swish, that song, awful, atrocious. That's when it kind of stopped for her. Oh, I completely forgot she was married to Russell Brand. I always forget that. And he broke up with her through text right before she was about to perform. So sad. So sad. Anyway, no, not filmography, discography. Okay, her last good album was Prism in 2013. My ringtone is Roar by Katy Perry. The song Fireworks means a lot to me. Teenage Dream, like, oh, sorry, not Teenage Dream. The One That Got Away is in my Feelings album. Okay, like, huge Katy Perry fan. This song, I want to like. Well, first when I heard about it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this. It's gonna be bop, and I want to like this song so badly. I do. I think I should have watched it without the music video. I was listening to a podcast and they did say the music video was terrible, and I was like, this can't be, like, music videos are fine, like, not that big of a deal. They were right. I hate this music video I love music videos. I think that is an art that is not that is an art that, like, has been lost. I think people are going back to it. Espresso, anyone? Great music video. I love a good music video. Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, I'm trying to think who else during their prime, like the 2010s. Yeah, 2010s. Katy Perry, Lady Gaga. I will even throw in there. I'm saying I can't think of anyone else, but the two of them, fabulous. Chef's Kiss, great music videos. Love a good music video. So I was excited. I thought maybe these girls are exaggerating. Music video is awful. The problem with Katy Perry's music video is, especially, I'm not gonna play a snippet of the song. The song isn't like terrible. I mean, it's kind of boppy, I guess, but not really. But the biggest problem I have with it is so male gazy. Like, it's the definition of the male gaze. Now, she released it by the time I'm recording this. I did see that she released a video explaining, like, how the beginning is supposed to be male gaze and it's sarcastic or something, and the second is reborn and, like, it's a different world. Yeah, but, like, we didn't get that the first time we watched it. Like, I feel like something's like, maybe you didn't do too good of a job like expressing how you felt. Like, we really didn't get it. So many critiques. I mean, all I see, honestly, I don't see anyone liking it on Twitter. All I see are people upset about it, and I hate to agree with everyone. The contrarian in me wants to be like, you guys are so wrong, but no, like, it's not good. Couple of things that I want to point out. There are two gay men kissing in this video titled Women's World about women. Now, what's confusing to me is why there are two men in a woman's video. Not only are they two men, they're two gay men in a women's video about women. And if you wanted to do that pander or whatever, because I do think it's pandering, because it made no sense for that to be in there. Then they kind of zoomed in on it. It was just like, what? So I feel like that was pandering. So if you wanted to do that, why would you not use like a lesbian couple? Like, it feels so like devoid of, I don't want to say personality. It just feels so like someone else gave her the song. It just didn't feel oh goodness, how do I describe it? I guess devoid of personality is the best thing I can think of it. It's just so like hands off. Like it's definitely written and directed by a man. Like it just doesn't feel as if it's like about women. It felt like it was really about men. So there's that. And then I saw like an article outraged because the one thing she did do right was she used the female body part, a uterus symbolism in the video, and people who are transgender are upset about that because they think that men can have uteruses too, or not all women have uteruses. I'm not quite fully sure their argument, but anyway, the one thing she did do right is have a uterus that only women can have in there. And so yeah, so it was just like a hot mess. You guys let me know if you heard it, what you think about it. I'm just like, oh, also, I don't know if you guys know the tea behind this. She is working with Dr. Luke. Now, Dr. Luke is a known abuser to people like Lady Gaga and Kesha. So that's another negative about it. Katy Perry, you guys should listen to the Toast episode where they talk about Katy Perry, and what Jackie says is low key everything I feel too. Katy Perry, once again, huge fan. Like I like her music, like I enjoy her, but I don't understand like why she's still working with Dr. Luke, well-known abuser. I don't understand like why it doesn't feel like she's has any like, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was her. It felt like almost, I don't want to say AI, but like it just didn't feel like a woman wrote it. The song doesn't feel like a woman wrote it. It just doesn't, like, why is she doing that? She's clearly talented. She can sing really well. Why is she doing that? That's so strange to me. So yeah, so I'm just adjusting my necklace for a second. So yeah, so that's that on that. That was a big story before, July 13th. That was gonna be the big headlining story of this episode, but then, stuff happened. Next thing I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about Gypsy Rose being pregnant, but for whatever reason, like that does not matter to me anymore. I think it's so interesting that I will say this. She on a comment or something like laid out the timeline for everyone. She's like, you know what? One thing you guys are not gonna accuse me of is being pregnant by Ryan. And I'm a little confused. Like it seems as if she finds him disgusting and she does not like him. Ryan. I mean, I don't know. I don't care enough to watch the show, but I do watch people review the show occasionally, or like watch like if there's like a 5-minute clip or something on YouTube, and like I'm not watching anything else, sure, whatever, I'll click it. Let's just see what they're saying. I don't care enough to like sit down. Okay, let me watch the show. But it really seems like she doesn't even like him, which is kind of weird that she like married him and then like lived with him and then did all that like the D is fire and like this is my man, blah 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 type of stuff. So weird. That's a little strange. But yeah, she did a timeline and she was like, one thing you guys aren't gonna say is that this is Ryan's baby. So it seems as if it's not Ryan's baby. I don't know, I'm not in control of that. And this is interesting. It's interesting. She gives us way too much information. But I wish her and her family the best. Genuinely, I do. Last story is something I saw. This is a short episode today, unless I talk about this a long time. Something I saw and everybody's been talking about. Today.com. Are tampons safe? New study finds lead and arsenic in tampons. But don't panic, experts say. Okay. A new study examined compositions of tampons and found heavy toxic metals, but more research is needed, experts say. Tampons are one of the most popular menstruation products in a growing market that now includes period underwear, menstrual cups, and more. They've been around since the 1930s and are still the go-to for many and use up to 80% of people who menstruate. Women. 80% though, that's interesting. However, little research I'm part of the 20% that's never used one. Anyone else? Okay. However, little research has investigated the potential contaminants in tampons and whether they pose a health risk. And a new, first of its kind study has many wondering, are tampons safe? The recent research out of UC Berkeley found that many tampons on the market, including organic and non-organic, may contain toxic metals such as lead and arsenic. The researchers looked at tampons sold both in the United States and Europe. Some tampons had higher concentration of one metal, lower concentration of another. Jenny Sherston, PhD, the lead author of the paper, tells Today.com, there wasn't a specific tampon that we tested that seemed to have a lower concentration of all the metals. Sherston notes that she and her colleagues began investigating tampons after noticing there was little about their components in research literature. There's been this historical taboo around menstruation that doesn't just impact us in our social lives, it also impacts scientific research, and it's one of the reasons we haven't had as much research on menstruation products. Okay. End quote. Okay. So a lot to say. First of all, as women, our fifth vital sign, unofficial vital sign, is our period. You need to be having a period, unless you're pregnant, obviously. You need to be having a period every month. If you do not get your period or you have irregular periods, there is something wrong and you need to get it checked out. This part of us is very important. And we've had Melanie on, myself on, not many, but like a couple other guests have talked about how our period is something that is a good thing. It means that we're healthy. It means that our fertility is going well. Like, it's a good, positive thing. Our periods also tell us a lot of things. So this is a very, very important part of being a woman. As a matter of fact, it is something that men cannot do. It is a woman thing. Now, are there women who are unable to for various reasons? Absolutely. That does not make them less of a woman. Biological women, that does not make them less of a biological woman. I'm just talking about in general. We're talking about in general here. So our periods are very important. It is therefore finding a way to contain the blood through tampons, pads, menstruation cups, period underwear, all that stuff. I'm blanking. I feel like there's another method, but like all throughout those things, like finding a way to maintain that blood, because it is something natural, something that happens, something that's good, it's a moral good, is very important. I listen to this podcast and I don't reference it as much as I used to, but there was a time I was probably referencing it like once a day, where this woman, she does I think it's like hormone research or something like that for women. She made a comment that just really stuck out to me. Essentially, she was explaining how a lot of tests on a myriad of things are not done on women, period, because they don't want to mess up women's fertility. So a lot of times with some of these diets that people go on are actually only tested on men because they don't want to mess up when they do the test and everything. They don't want to mess up women's fertility. Birth control, they don't really like test that out, and there's this and there's that. So they don't really, I don't say they don't really care, because I'm trying not to like assign like a emotion to it, but they are trying to preserve fertility. They don't want to mess up someone's hormones, because women, our bodies are different. Our bodies are, I like to say, more delicate. And if it makes you feel better, delicate like a firework. So there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So they don't have these tests. And I think it's really important. We need to start doing those things. I also think this is another reason why I like that women are in these studies and they're doing science. Because, I mean, all these years, men have never thought of doing that. Interesting. And I think that it's really important for us to start being more conscious about what we're putting in our bodies. I know I'm working on that. I actually, I'll do a post about it and probably a video about it. I finally got not finally, as if like it was their fault. It was just like me doing the timing and like blah blah blah. on my end, I finally signed up for the subscription for Garnu. Now Garnu is an organic. They have organic tampons, pads, and pads. They also have period cups, and I feel like there's something else that they have. Anyway, get them for all your period needs. 110%. They're an amazing company. Use code OtherGirls10. And I actually had Macy, the founder, on the podcast, which I'll link for you to check out. And we talked about like why organic is important and like the difference between organic and like not having these chemicals. And like, there was a time where there were pads. I'm pretty sure there still are like pads with scent on them, and like that doesn't feel right. I'm sure it doesn't feel right on your body, but it also doesn't feel right as in like, what are these scents being absorbed into your body? Same with, and I think I don't want to say something that I'm not sure. I want to say that there was also scented tampons, but I'm not 100% sure. But that's even more being absorbed in your body. So it's these type of things that we need to be cautious of, and looking at all of these things found in tampons. And they're saying like not to be panicked or not to be alarmed. Sure, I guess, but also be cautious. I think now is the time. A lot of us are being more cautious about what we're putting in our bodies. Like I've been saying, I am drinking my water with electrolytes. Huzzah. And I've been drinking a lot of green tea. I've really been trying to do a lot of high protein. And I'm, like now a lot of us are like paying attention to like what's going on in our bodies, making sure that we're doing, you want to be healthy, especially women, especially if you're young and you aren't married yet and you eventually want to have kids. And I'll say for myself, I'm almost 30. Like whenever I get married, we're going to have to get right on in there. We can't waste too much time. So I want to, have a body that's ready and prepared for by the time I meet someone and we get married and blah, 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 blah. And if you're in a similar situation, like these are just some things to be thinking about. So that's the update on tampons. I highly recommend Garnu. Garnu actually put out a comment. Let me read it. They put out a comment, and if my phone will open it. It said, please read attention Garnu girlies. If you've been active on social media the past couple of days, you've seen many of these shocking article titles. Through a recent study, researchers have found that some toxic metals like arsenic and lead have been discovered in common tampon brands, including some organic brands. We've been flooded with messages and tags on social media, and we are proud of our women to be advocating for their health and wellness. At Garnu, here's where we can assure you. 100% organic cotton, certified organic, free from pesticides and synthetic fibers, no toxic chemicals or metals, and yes, that includes no arsenic or lead. And we call you a woman, unlike the other toxic brands. Love that last part. Use code OtherGirls10 to get 10% off. But seriously, I think this is just good, valid, important things to think about and remember when you are choosing your brands, when you are putting things in your body, and I think it's also like back to the point of like they don't do a lot of research or stuff like that for us. I think it's just something for us to remember, and I think that it's first of all, yeah, it's something for us to remember, and I think it's something for us to be like cautious of when we're doing things. And I'm excited for the future because more women are in these spaces, so more women are going to want to like do more research and figure out, be more creative, like, okay, because I think that's valid, you don't want to mess up someone's fertility, and any hormonal change not all of us have the same hormonal changes and challenges. Any hormonal change can affect that. So I understand why it's hard, but I think that if you're a woman, you're going to want to kind of try to at least try. It doesn't seem like they've tried before. So I'm excited for that for the future. That's pretty much it for today. Short episode. Thursday's episode is going to be great. I have my friend Frances, who was in a pageant. And she's the Miss USA pageant. She's going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about what all do we talk about the pageant. We talk about why she got into pageants. We talk about her platform. We talk about beauty and womanhood and Christianity. And like, I think I said this in the podcast, and in that podcast, I'm saying in this podcast, I'll never forget when Carla from Culture of Life 1972 was on, and she made a comment or something like, God doesn't call us to be frumpy, like nowhere in the Bible says to be frumpy. And I love that. That's something I think we need to some of us need to be reminded of. Like, we don't have to, like, you can still be cute and modest. You can still be cute and it doesn't, sexualize or objectify yourself. Like, you don't have to be frumpy. You don't have to. So yeah, just a reminder, this episode's gonna be great. I think anything else? No, not really. So I hope you guys like, rate, review, subscribe this, and I hope you have a good day, night, evening, wherever you're listening. Bye.